You are now tuned into the truth frequency.
We are TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
When you finally boil it all down, magic is imagination. We are moving into an age of manifestation. Things become actually less material, more ethereal. The golden dawn is when we awaken to this new station of life. What you think becomes real quicker. Regain our imagination, regain our inner child, and let that inner child out.
My name is Frank Castle, founding member of the music group Heist Click and New York City Neo Shaman. After a serious injury sidelined my career in 2013, I decided to set out on an adventure to search for myself with the help of the plant medicine ayahuasca. What I discovered waiting for me was something I could have never prepared for. It was time for me to become something more, someone more. It was time I became fearless. Shine as my heart beats a rhythm with space and time. When the light starts to shine inside your third eye, you awake to the knowledge that you never die.
What is up, everyone? It's your man Frank Castle. It's Saturday night, best night in talk radio. And I'm your sorcerer supreme, and this is Fearless, and I'm with my etherical translator, Paula Milo.
Hey, everyone. Chat room folks, please let us know if you can hear us. We had a little problem with the intro music, so I want to make sure we can hear.
So, big shout outs to Chris and Cherie Gio. Without you guys, we wouldn't be doing this, not like this. Shout outs to Ra. Stick around after us. We have Beyond the Veil. And we have Paranormal Portal, and then Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean. What is up, everybody? It has been an intense week of upgrades.
Yes, it has.
I don't think anything has prepared anyone. Well, we've prepared as much as I guess you possibly can for something like this. You know, it floats in the ether. Is the story real? Take with it from what you will. And sure enough, it's as real as it gets. We've been talking the last few weeks about different stories leading up to this and the preparation, like the internal spiritual preparation, your level of commitment to the preparation to whatever it is you're doing. Now, naturally, there's no wrong way of doing this, right?
No, not at all.
But there is a fast track and there is a slow track. And there is a track where see you in another 25,000 years because you're not finished doing out your karma. Or whatever else, other lessons that you have to learn. Yeah, create a new karma
for yourselves, yeah.
So, because some people during these times, instead of rising to the occasion, they fall further into the hole and wonder why. And then at time of deliverance, they can't quite handle it and must be given more time. That's basically what it is. It's just more time. It's not like the person, even if the person was dead evil, it doesn't matter. It just takes more time.
It does,
to play out.
This is just the downloads of information that people have been receiving lately, us included, and our, fearless family. The downloads of information, it takes so long to process it. You receive the information, you have to take it apart and figure it out and see how it applies to you. So there's a lot of information being shared. And, everyone is going to take their time processing it, just know you'll get through it. Understand that you'll get through it and that you'll be able to rise above it. There is something big that will be happening because we all feel it. How it's going to affect us, no one can say, but you do have to get ready for it.
We can only speculate. We're all in the boat together. Together, we're going to do this. So everyone's popping off in all different directions. What can be, what will it be? Will it be the phony alien invasion? Will it be Project Bluebeam? Will it be a government just revealing UFOs? Will it be actual ETs coming down here? Or will it be the AI and ships and et cetera, et cetera? It goes on down the rabbit
Or
hole.
will it be so subtle that we won't even realize it's happening?
Like a gentle breeze.
Right, which is what I think is going to happen. But, we don't know. I mean, but a lot of us have been receiving the same information. And, it's funny because I know you in particular, you and Jimmy did receive the same information.
Shout outs to Shaman Jimmy. Yeah, absolutely. Wildly so. Wildly to the point what let me ask you now, because I really didn't get a chance to ask you. Was that Jimmy on the phone earlier?
Yeah, he called earlier.
There you go.
We were talking. He gave me some information that he received. And he said to me very similar things that you had said to me a few days ago. And I was shocked because as I'm hearing it for the second time now, he got pretty much the same thing out of it. And it was funny because we didn't talk about, when Frank talks to Jimmy, Shaman Jimmy, our Fearless family knows who he is, the information, he tells me somewhat of, the conversations, but he doesn't go into everything. I mean, he can't possibly tell me everything that they talk about.
Too much info.
But Frank had shared information a few days ago with me, and Jimmy had shared information with me this morning, and it was very, very similar information. I was shocked.
It's shocking to the point of, wow. All right, so Jimmy has introduced me to a few different characters as well, beings that are awesome, right? And they are in different places.
Yes.
All right, so somebody will say, I'm going in to get some information, right? That's how it happens in this group. And then you find out 3 more people are going in at the same time. And then you're like, wow, this is pretty interesting. And then you find out 4 more people that you didn't even really talk to, all who are like, well, I'm brewing, I'm going right in. And people are popping out with this info.
But it's very similar. Everyone's getting a very similar
everyone's-
message. Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, right. They give out a lot of the detail to the message, as much as they're allowed to deliver, and then try to run it with everybody else's. And we're picking out
The similarities.
yes, the similarities on, we're building the bigger picture.
And it looks like we're doing a pretty good job.
I would say
Shrinking that dark energy.
I would say, especially from the other night, absolutely yes. I'll get into it a little more on what I did, but shrinking the darkness, that's a good way to put it. I've been tested on all layers and all levels, as well as most of us that are involved with this, or all of us, I guess. And it has not been easy, but each time there's an overcome said issue, problem, drama, whatever it is, like you overcome it. Either you remove yourself from it and feel better, or you overcome it because it was an issue before, like a block, and now there's no block, and you're allowed to move a little more freely. It's occurring, and it's all around us. And now's the time to grab hold. We talk about the preparation. I'm going to go back to it because you can't really prepare, but I have to talk to you guys about preparation. I'm going to work the show, I think, kind of backwards tonight because preparation was last for tonight, and I want to talk about it first just to find, so you guys can fine-tune your mind a little on where you are in this. Where do you feel you fit in? Do you fit in? Do you feel you still don't? Like, what is stirring up inside of you at this point? Have you things begin to fall away? Have you felt the intense struggle of the actual ascension symptoms themselves? Lots of fire trucks and police trucks these 2-3 days now. I was outside today and I saw the mad scramble. It was happening when I went for the walk. There was a giant accident right here on.
Was there really?
Yeah, on Pelham Parkway. It blocked everything all the way down. So I had to go for a long walk and hit the bank. Why do I have to hit the bank? Well, preparation. Preparation for what? Right? Well, just to have a little something, Not to say I carry a lot of anything, because honestly, I don't have a lot of everything. As a matter of fact, if you robbed me, you'd probably smack yourself at the end of the day. Unless you like
That's what I
Optimus
say,
Prime
yeah.
and Wolverine and a couple of cats that are all have their own personalities.
Yeah, and about 70 days worth of cat food.
Yeah. and you like coffee. I mean, you're not getting anything. But this is the problem. We don't have anything, right? People don't have. Now, we're talking about money. That's obvious. Well, people don't have money. Well, what else don't people have when they're underprepared?
Oh, not enough water, not enough food, not enough cash on hand if anything should happen.
Like small denominations.
Yeah, of cash in the house. You know, they say that the average household doesn't even have $400 in cash for an emergency on hand.
But everyone's got credit cards galore.
Yeah.
I got 76 cards with $76,000
Yeah.
a piece.
What happens when when you can't get to the bank, or
When you swipe that card.
or the grid goes down, or we have another blackout,
Oh
or
my.
there's a problem with the internet. What happens? What do you do? What do you do? You have it in your bank account, but you can't get gas if you don't have cash. You can't buy bread and milk and coffee. God, forget it. We would die if we couldn't have coffee.
Well, how are you going to make the coffee if you can't ignite the stove because there's no electricity? The grid goes down. You can't plug in your coffee maker.
Yeah, but if you have a gas stove, you can use it. We can't because we have an electric start gas stove. But if you have a gas stove, you can still cook.
Right. So there's levels of preparation.
We would start a fire in the yard and I would make coffee.
Oh, absolutely.
That's exactly. Do you remember when the coffee pot broke and I had to make coffee using a pot, and it was like Little House on the Prairie. I had to make it, boil it on the stove and then filter it. It was horrible.
Yeah, Paul is into that old-fashioned cooking stuff.
But no, she's not.
What would you need to get through?
Yeah, what
let's
would you
say,
need?
7 days of absolute
Chaos.
Right? Now, people right away, I need guns, I need ammo. Okay, let's say it's good to be protected, and I agree with that statement, but we're not going to talk about that, right? Because you need to be protected, but I'm not going to tell people, go get guns and stuff, because really, we want a calm environment.
I think it's going to be a technological issue. I think you're not going to be able to use credit cards or the internet. And
Right.
I think that is going to in itself be such a powerful way to cause chaos and confusion, you know.
Yes.
But being ready, having water. You know, my friend lives in a high-rise apartment. When we had that very bad blackout years ago, I mean, she was on the 11th floor. She didn't even have water because the water was pumped
right.
electronically to get to her.
That's what I'm saying. So you're going to need water maybe to put in the toilet so the toilet will go
Well,
down.
water for anything. Water for anything, period. Yeah.
Water to drink.
Yeah.
All right. You're not going to really bathe as much unless you have it like that. Maybe you have like a tank or something where you have water to shower. But we got to be specific because basics are required in the next few weeks.
Cash on hand, water, food, anything you need so that you don't have to leave the house.
Get your stuff now. And I'm not telling you.
No,
No.
We're not doing that. This is not a panic thing. This is just, things that you should have
on hand. But these are stuff that you should have on hand now. Like as we're talking, you should have that mental list. I could use a little extra of this, a little extra of that. And to just think to yourself, okay, there's 3 members of my family, 5 members, 4 members. I'm by myself. What would it take for you to survive?
Right.
3 to 7
And again,
days.
no one's trying to panic anyone
We're not telling
or cause
you're
alarm.
running out of your house and climbing
Frank
up a
received
mountain
this
into the-
message. Jimmy received this message. A few of our other Fearless family received this message. Just preparedness. Be
everything
prepared.
that's
Oh,
going-
and the chat room folks, Pop-Tarts. I could live on Pop-Tarts till I die. I
could probably eat a bunch of Pop-Tarts myself.
And it's funny because they're not good for you. They say that the icing on it, like you could light it on fire, like it's
terrible.
got wax in it. But I could eat Pop-Tarts. Yes,
Well,
I could.
If you only had to do it for 3 to 7 days, you'd be fine.
Yeah, I think I would be fine.
Have you observed fasting and cleansing yourself? So if you had to do, let's say, 7 days, and you didn't have that much, could you hold out without flipping out? Some people just, I haven't had a hungry belly sound in how long? Oh my, it's growling. I got to eat right. Like that immediate
Panic.
gratification.
That would
and the
be me. I would panic.
People will, okay, look. So you're not even going to want to be outside during these moments because people in panic, right? I was driving my car. I can't cash my check. I can't do this. And they drive the car into a crowd. And they just turn. I wasn't looking. I wasn't paying attention. I was too busy worrying about where my next dollar is going to come from because I can't feed my kid because we didn't have enough, baby milk or food in the house for what we needed to do. Look, I'm just releasing it nice and easy for you guys. But honestly, do it. Do it for yourself. Make sure you're okay. Don't touch that stuff. Get stuff that you don't have to eat right now or, where you can store a few things just so you're ready. It doesn't matter. There's no wrong way to do it. Just make sure you do it. Okay? I'm not here to tell you how to do the whole thing.
Yeah, we're learning as we go too.
This is episode 112. It took a year for me to come out of the closet with this stuff, for Chris to prod me. So I was a year ahead of everybody on the show. And then it took all the time up to now from start to the very start of everything with Frank Castle to now. So you guys know everything I know.
And we've been talking about this shift or this event that's going to take place. We've been talking about it since the beginning
Day
of the
one.
show. I just feel like it's nearing. And again, we could be wrong. The information that Frank and Jimmy received, you have to understand it comes from another place and it comes from another time where time is not linear. So when they say soon could be 5 years, soon could be 3 years, soon could be a day, a week, a month. No one really knows. So, we take this information and we have to be very careful about how we choose to discuss it with people because we don't want to cause panic and alarm. When the Pleiadians send their message, I think there's like a 3-year difference between Earth time and their time, between human time, the way we measure time here. And, we forget that, Frank had an experience years ago where he returned somewhere and they had said to him, that's your spot. That's your place on the council. And he said, what do you mean? I haven't been here. And they were like, you were just here. But I think they were talking about their time. So for Frank, it could have been 15, 20, 30, 50 years. But to them, he was just there. Yeah, exactly.
That's how they broke it down.
Exactly.
They looked at me and were like, dude, like a month of our time ago, you decided to be a human and literally started at the very beginning. Like the beginning, before humans were there. You were a creator being on planet Earth. I was like, what? Are you guys on crack? And they're like, dude, you were just here. Like we didn't even miss you yet, and you're back.
But that's time.
And then this is how it's going down right now. And I'm like, wow.
Because it's always now.
Mm-hmm. It's always now.
It's always now. But that time, that time is not linear for other beings. That time doesn't have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's happening. I think it's like I think it's circular.
Yeah,
it's always happening now.
So she can see what I think is an exact copy of what time is.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So it's basically the flower of life spinning off within a circle, a giant sphere, like a giant bubble, right, with all kinds of flower of lives going in it. There's your time. And there are coordinates that you can jump in because it's always now. Yeah. So if you're like, well, I want to go back to when I was 7, it's like, well, there's the 7 at the now. Go. Like you just pick the coordinate and go in instead of,
But I think that's it. It's
as
quick as a thought. The speed of thought.
It's the speed of thought.
But that's what I think. Frank and I had an experience a couple of days ago.
That's what I think. But
that's exactly what I think.
Right.
But we had an experience a couple of days ago.
Indeed.
And it was an extremely intense experience. I don't know if you want to go into it.
Oh, well, yeah. You want to? Should we
start?
You go.
Yeah, you go.
Okay, so Paul and I decided to take our put the big pants on right? The adult
the
swim
big,
pants.
the big boy pants, yeah,
and
the big girl pants.
and do just about 5 grams, pretty each. That's asking a lot for us.
For me in particular, I'm tiny, first of all, Jimmy, and I thought I was going to die. Number 2, Jimmy. I knew I was going to die, but it was
I did
it
die.
was
It
I think I
good.
did. I died like 6 times
At
probably.
least.
But it was an extremely it was
What's up, man?
good. It was an extremely intense experience. For
I don't
me,
even think intense is the right word.
for me
Maybe
in
a better
particular,
word.
it was very internal. And I removed a lot of layers. For Frank, it was very external. And he had an extremely wild and crazy experience.
Now, I know as I go through my experience that your experience was jacked out to the max because of what you said to me. But maybe I'll tell this.
Yeah, you could tell.
Okay. So.
We have no secrets.
All right. So something felt on Saturday. When was it?
Thank you, Nick. Thank you for being proud.
2 days ago?
Was
it Wednesday or Thursday?
It was the day we took your mother to the hospital. That night, Thursday.
So I felt something shift that day. Anyway, this was before I knew what we were going to do.
I mean, the doctor. We didn't take her to
my mother needed to go to the doctor. We took her to the doctor. Everything was great and everything, but there's this weird thickness in the air.
It was a heaviness in the air. It was. I mean, she was fine.
It worked great and quick.
Yeah, it was.
Really wild.
Yeah, it was nice.
We
We went out for breakfast after. Yeah, we were at breakfast longer than we were in the doctor. And
like, I got stitches in my leg. Yeah, let's go to the diner.
And so we made sure she got home. We made sure she got settled in. And then later on that afternoon evening, I said to Frank, before I started making dinner, I said, do you want to go in?
No, you said, I think we should go in. Like, today is it. You were pretty adamant. I was like, okay.
I really was, and I'm never that person. I'm the person that says okay
for a week and a half.
You know what it was? It was a good day because I knew I was going to need one full day, and apparently it was 2 days. I was going to need one full day to recover.
Yeah,
so that was the Friday. Yesterday we got to recover. And then today I had I struggled today. I really did. There were things I wanted to do that didn't get done, but other things got done.
So it put you in the right frame of mind.
It did.
To walk out and be completely out of character, which is actually really Paula's true character. Because that's your higher self talking.
No, I planned it today, but I needed to do housework, and I didn't do that.
We planned a lot with that, and I was like thinking in my head, man, this has got to get done because we were being called in. We were told a week prior.
We were told, but the timing was bad.
5 grams. It was terrible.
The timing was bad because I'm thinking, oh my God, 5 grams. I microdosed one little cap, and we
got jacked by the AI on 1 gram together.
No. But the last time when I microdosed, I had such a great experience. And that was just a microdose. So I said, oh my God, 5 grams. What's going to happen to me? Am I going to get sent to another planet and have to stay there? Like, I didn't know what was going to happen.
You even said to me during it, Frank, am I going to be like this forever? And I was like, maybe. Like, I was with you.
No, I know. We were together. We were together.
That's why I was like,
yes,
wow.
We were together, but we were gone. Like, I could feel you there. I could touch you. Like, I knew you were next to me, but I knew we were not in the same place at all.
No.
At all.
Well, there was 1 or 2 times where we were melded together, and I was saying we were a blob of energy, and it was like pinks and purples. It was nice. And then I was an individual within the mass of 2. I could feel my individual parts working, mixed in with yours, so I could re-pull them out if I wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
But we worked in this coordinate. Okay, so I had even said, show me more about Paula and I, because we're like this. I saw your head pop up out of it, and you were going, hey, we should think about doing it like this. And I went, oh, we're doing it like this over here, blah, blah, blah. And then the background kept changing as I was saying, because there was another character talking, going, no, show me Paula and I from the beginning on, a whole bunch of times where we made decisions together to head down this path. I needed something more.
You wanted a visual.
No, but I was having the visual. I was watching it.
No, you wanted the visual of.
I wanted to see.
Yeah, you wanted to
me
see
and
it.
you as the different characters. Well,
that's what I was saying.
It's the background started developing into different backgrounds, like the rainforest, all the different creatures that we were. I even said that at one point the reptilians came. We were reptiles, like
and
snakes.
And what did I tell you?
I said to the snake, I started speaking snake. No problem, too. I was like, and this thing just backed off. And what I was thinking while that was coming out was, get out of here, man, because the next thing that happens after you let those guys in, I felt their energy, was because I was worried about you because you kept saying, oh, is this going to be like it was the last time? I thought I was over this, and I thought you were going to start giving babies again.
Giving birth
reptilians
again.
Going, rah. And I said, you have to get out of here now. I'm here to protect her, and blah, 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 blah. But I said it in snake. And then I watched all the fuzzy little animals as well. We were down for 2 hours that felt like...
No, it was longer than that.
No. 2 hours we were down. Like, I couldn't move. Because I got up and started hanging out in the house after 2 hours.
I couldn't get up.
And it was still going strong.
Mm-hmm.
I took a shower. I did the dishes. I put music on.
I don't know how you did any of that.
I actually had multiple interactions with the beings.
I cried and pouted and hyperventilated for about an hour and a half.
During that time, I had to get up and put the air conditioner on and close the window. I didn't realize we were right by the window. And you were going, and I shut the window. And you're like, what are you doing? Why are you putting the air conditioner on? I'm like, well, I don't think the neighbors want to hear you complaining like that. It was just really weird because the wall is right there with the fence.
They worked so hard on me. They really did. And I'm so thankful because... Oh, are we going to lose it?
Yeah, we're going to lose it. When we come right back, she's going to tell you how it went.
No hate, no hype, no fear. We are TFR, your protection from deception.
Am I awake or is this a dream? A fantasy where I'd rather be. So come and talk with me. Come and walk with me. Is this a wake-up call from my reality? Have you seen my friends? Have you seen my girl? Wake me up from this. I'm trapped in this world.
What is up, everyone? We are back. My name is Frank Castle. This is FearLess. I'm your Sorcerer Supreme, and right here is Paul Milo, my etherical translator, and most awesome of awesome. Hey, check it out. If you like everything you're listening to, you like the show, you want to get the past shows, you like other shows, you want to get their shows, get a subscription to TFR. Sign up. What's up, everybody, on iHeartRadio as well? Say you don't want a subscription, you just want to listen on iHeartRadio. All right? You like some of the music you hear? HEIST, CLICK, Heist Music. And to finish it off, wearefearless.com for everything fearless.
Oh, and get a subscription to TFR. Just there's one in every price range. Just find one and get a subscription.
You get every past episode and everything's groovy. Okay. You guys are right. 5 grams is a heroic dose. You have to be prepared to literally lose your shit. You have to be like, all right, I don't know what's going to happen. Oh, all right, so let me just preface some stuff. The last time when Nicholas was here last week, we went in, right? And it was like a warm-up to the big game. Right? It was like a nice little opening. I was like, oh, this is beautiful. This is great. Really threw me off. What's going to happen? What is going to happen during this experience? And I'm like, I can't do what? All right, so I can't do it alone. They were like, you have to go with Paula. You have to. It was like kind of the deal. I guess this was contracted with us a while back to do this. But I'm not going to lie to you guys. I literally lost my mind. I didn't know who I was. Like, I've been under ayahuasca and lost my mind, came right back, blah, blah, blah. Had really crazy experiences. But some of the things that have happened blow my mind completely. So, by the way, I applaud you for the heroic dose. But the first thing that occurred when we laid down on the bed, it came over me quick. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I saw a screen in front of me, as if I was standing in a tube of some kind, or like a light was under me and I was floating. I wasn't standing on it. And I can see that my body was holographic in nature, right? And I kept going, no, I'm flesh. And they're like, no, you are flesh. That's true. But you're still in the hologram. It's still part of that. And I said, what's going on here? And I held out my hands like this, and right in front of me, so I was palms up, just like somebody was going to give me, slap me 5. And the screen went on, and I was like, whoa. And I thought Iron Man, right? It had like the technical readout. It had like stats.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was seeing that too in the room. Everything in the room I was looking at, they were giving me a readout for. But I wasn't in my body. I had this experience and I didn't feel my body at all. And I think I definitely raised vibration and frequency, because I think the things that I had to release and let go don't fit. Remember, we talked about the cone and going up in the densities. You can't take some of that earthly garbage with you.
You can't take any of the
You
3D.
really can't. And I think it was a lot of removing what I wasn't allowed to take with me. And it's funny because today I'm going through this thing where I want to throw more things away. And I have a feeling it has a lot to do with what we went through the other night. I don't want anything. I
feel
really
like I don't need it.
Yeah, I don't want a lot of the like we have a lot of tchotchkes and just have a lot of stuff. And it's like, do we really need this stuff? We have to stop buying more stuff, so I'm going through I want to get rid of everything today. And I know that's part of what what I was, I guess, clearing for myself, or what I needed to go through.
And it will be done forcefully if you're pushing the envelope. And some of us are pushing the envelope, and I think some of us don't really know why. And then we get there, right? Because you're like, bro, it's tripping on mushrooms, 5 grams, heroic dose. Even McKenna doesn't talk about this kind of stuff. Showing up on a spaceship, standing there on a platform, and I'm being talked to by beings that are like, hang in there. You're building your new, your blueprint. It's going back. It's reverting to the original blueprint. And I can see an overlay on my skin of the light being like, and I'm like, oh, there it is. And then it goes away, and then it overlays it. So it's like, I'm kind of seeing it around my body. And I'm like, oh, okay, that looks cool. And then my body starts fading out. And then you could see more of the light being, like it was like replacing it. And I'm going, what's going on? They're like, oh, you're building it. You're actually have the capabilities of building this, right? So, and if you don't like it, you can fix it. But just build it. That you need to do this. And I'm like, it's funny. Last week, I discussed this with Nicholas. I don't know if I talked about it on the show, but it had this, I mentioned to him, this whole experience, because one other time I spoke about my higher self being stuffed into me, like he was like having to stuff himself, like, oh, this is uncomfortable, bro.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, it's like Peter Pan. Like you can't put the whole thing in, because then you'd be screwed. You'd pop. You'd lose your mind. But in Peter Pan, he sewed his shadow back on. Remember that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I loved Peter Pan. I absolutely loved that. On to Neverland and all, And it freaked me out for a second, because we were staring at each other like, yeah, man, it is kind of like.
But it's like to tether to your soul.
If the shadow was your higher self, Peter catches it and reattaches it. He becomes all happy, and he goes on his little adventure and stuff. And I'm like, that's what that really meant. Not the darkness of the shadow. People confuse something that's dark with being dark, like evil. But that's not necessarily true at all, because you're 50% darkness. And you could believe in that. And you got to go in and clear that stuff out, whether you're doing meditation, nice things, rubbing your feet in just sand and sitting by the water, whatever it is, cleaning, reading a book. That process is going on inside of you. They were explaining the crystalline structure doesn't mean you're made of crystal. It means like a crystal, your body's returning to one form. The crystal is the perfect form in nature. That's how they were explaining it. They're like, you're not going to be hard like a crystal. You're going to be light, right? But like a crystal, you're going to be perfect.
Right.
They're imperfect. Like when you look at them under, I guess, microscopes or whatever, there's like perfect forms in them. They're like, you're going to go back to being perfect. And I'm like, who, me? Just me? And they're like, no, not just you, like everyone. But first, you. Worry about you. And there was this big notion this past week. I haven't done any of the meditations, but I lived like in 3 days, 12 hours of meditation. Lived in it. Okay, so after your HoloScreen experience, like, can you describe it a little bit? Because what you were screaming to me was like the Terminator. And I was like, yo, because I knew exactly what you were talking about.
But that's what it was like. But it was only like that for a brief time. But I could get a readout on everything. But, and I was explaining this to Jimmy this morning, too. There was no time for me. So there was no, whatever messages I was receiving, there was no way to verify the time. Like, time wasn't the issue. The removing the layers was the issue for me. And, fixing things that I thought were fixed already. So it was a lot of self-discovery, I guess. And I don't care what that sounds like, but that's what it was like. It was like really just removing those layers and realizing how unimportant certain things are. And it was very painful. It was very painful, and it was very personal, and it was very private. So, which I found odd, because I was expecting a broader experience. I was expecting a more fantastic experience, but it wasn't like that. It was very introverted. It was very personal, personal experience. And, like I said, I cried for about an hour and a half. I think I cried, and it's still taking me time to process that and to I guess come out of it.
That's exactly the feeling I get from being around Space Jesus. You just stand in his presence, and the feeling of like, for 3 days. But you're getting smarter and feeling better. But at the same time, you're like, oh, wow.
So Nick in the chat room just said he's having the same thing happen. And yeah, Nicholas, it's so strange. It's like, I thought I dealt with these issues, I thought I mastered these problems, but I guess not. Or, maybe we went in deeper than I realized. But the only time I ever felt like that before was when I did Dolores Cannon. I went to one of her students for a QHHT healing, and I actually saw myself as a point of light. And, when I had this experience recently, I did not feel my body at all. Like, I wasn't in my body at all. I don't know where I was. I didn't feel that sense of being rocketed anywhere.
Did you lose sense of being Paula?
No, that's the thing. I always knew who I was, but there was no body attached, which is fine with me. I didn't have a problem with it. I actually liked the feeling. They were working on me before it got there. They were working on me. My shoulder feels a lot better than it has in a while. I've been having a lot of trouble with the shoulder. I really do just have to find a solution and really take care of this, because it's really impeding my life now. And my shoulder does feel a lot better. They were doing something to my spine. I felt like they took it out and put it back in, but I'm not quite sure if that's what happened, but that's what it felt like happened. Yeah, a lot of weird things. And then I didn't feel my body at all, but in no way was it a negative experience. It was a very sad, and I went through a lot of guilt. I went through a lot of negative emotions, but it wasn't a negative. I didn't think it was a negative experience. I didn't see horror. I didn't see pain. I saw my own pain, but not
That's
other
like
people.
our personal stuff. that we go through.
Other people's pain. Then I felt like, well, that's not true. I shouldn't say that, because then I did feel like there was a point when I wasn't in my body. I was telling Frank, I shouldn't have said that. I didn't feel pain. I felt the sadness of the world. And I said, I need to come through this because I can't take on the sadness of the world. I don't want that responsibility. And I tried to push through it as quickly as I could, but you can't do that. I really did. I felt the sadness of the world, and it was terrible. But I got through it. And I don't know, was it a metaphor for something? I don't know. I might not put those pieces together till next year, next week, next month, next year. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what that was, but it was a very personal experience. I don't have any other words for it.
I remember at one moment we were like cuddled together. Somebody like tossed me off of you. And like
a lot of people have been feeling that sad feeling, the sadness of the world. That's so wild.
That's see, even the baby's crying.
She's crying now.
I remember having to lay on my back, and I was being forced to be like sarcophagus Frank, right? Like lay like this,
yeah,
right, and hands across my chest and stuff. And at one moment I was going, Frankie, it's me. And I'm like, yeah, look, we're going through it. And I was watching the different backgrounds change and adjust to the, you and I have made decisions together spiritually.
Oh yeah. You were saying this to me.
Very long time. I was like, show me how many times we made the decision to do this. And it was one after another after another. But then I was going, yeah, Frank House, blah, blah. And then I went, I'm the man who walks in, and I was like, what do I walk in? I'm like, who am I? What am I? And I just looked over at you, and I saw you. I saw the spirit you. It was so weird. It was like, it almost looked like a garage or where they work on stuff, right? And
like a body shop.
Like a body shop. And they were literally working on the bodies. And when I looked up, Source was like right above me, and I was like at the top, like I could just touch Source, and there were jellyfish beings looking at me, and it was like Source was this big, juicy, beautiful being that you would not expect it to look like. And I found it to be interesting because I saw multiple ones in there, and I seen that those beings were getting ready to come out, and I said, oh, just like me, right? And then I'm like, what am I? And then it started working its way back to who I am. So a being comes through the wall, like Freddy Krueger style, where the face like almost is pushing through the skin of the wall, except it was very cartoonish and not scary. And the background was gray. This is how I remember this. It was gray, and then there were things touched up in black. So when the background moved, it looked alive almost, right? And like techno organic or something, and these lips came through and said, Commander, are you ready? And I was like, what? Did you just call me? Right in the middle of I didn't know who I was, and I was working my way back. There was the laughter, the lips, and then, yes, Commander. And it was the smiling with the teeth like my own crazy smile. I go, why do you keep calling me Commander? I've seen you before, blah, blah, blah. And then it starts. Remember what the message originally was about being ambassadors of some kind, right? Or
oh yeah.
the in-between. right? Make the choice. Is this a responsibility that you want? Is this something you would like to be part of? You jumped in the original, when I originally asked you, Jimmy asked me, it came through, hey, ask Paula if this is something she would want to do. So I said, hey, I said, you're perfect for this, so I'm going to ask. And I asked you, and you were ready to go, right? And it's almost like we're all better at something, and we're not allowed to use that working in this world right now. And we're like, yo, man, I'm better off doing this, or I'm better off doing that, but I just can't do that. And I'm like, Paula, she should have a giant farm, and she should be teaching everyone how to sow land and sow seed and grow stuff. I'm dead serious. How to cook on certain things and how to act certain ways by just being around her in her presence. I always go first with you.
Sweet.
No, but it's the truth, though. Even when I'm building the house on the other side, I'm like, yo, remember, this has to be over here because Paula can't hear if we scream over here like rah during ayahuasca ceremonies. She's not going to be annoyed watching
Game of Thrones.
Well, no, Downton Abbey.
Shut
Right?
up.
So anyway,
Shut up.
so they showed me that like you can't even see the back of your house from here. So I go around the side. It took me a minute to get around. I'm like, yo, I need a golf cart. And then there were rows of everything you could imagine. And Paula had people helping her pick things.
Oh, this is in
baskets.
in what you saw.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, so the other side of our house has like a farm, and it's gigantic, and there's animals everywhere. But it wasn't too crazy, but it was good. It was like really beautiful. And I'm like, this is interesting. She should be doing that. She should have the ability, if that's what she really does, instead of thinking, what office career can I have? Because nobody really wants an office career, do you? And knowing what you know now spiritually,
No.
You want to be put in another box? Give me a break, right? So part of, I promised the mushroom, because me and the mushroom were boys 100%, right? That I would submit 100%. And they were like, bullshit, Frank. So I go, no, I'm going to do it. So remember at the beginning, I said something that one of those jellyfish came over and put something in my mouth. And then I kind of swallowed it. And I was like, what the? If you're going to be putting stuff down my throat like that, we're going to fight. Because I'm fighting everything these days and I'm winning. So you want to do this? And they were like, dude, shut up. And I'm like, oh, it's you guys. Is it okay? I'm going to submit now, and I won't say a word. And I didn't for the rest of the time.
I know.
I literally.
I was surprised.
Oh no, I promised. I promised to not be a little baby, because they were like, they kept calling me names for like a week. They were like, dude, you're this, you're that, and I'm like, nah, I'm this, and you can't tell me. And I think they were building me up by kind of teasing me because they know that annoys me. Right? Like I'll sit there and just start eating a dish full of mushrooms. If you push that wrong button with me, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm going to come get you now. There's no place you could hide from the creator. And now once I realize this, I'll come get you. And it becomes more of a funny thing. This is how my mental works. This is why I'm able to push to these weirdo levels. Okay. So they say to me, you guys, you and I have to start learning how to speak to the different beings. That's what they were telling me. So I'm like, really? How so? And they were like, all right. I left you you were in the bedroom and I came out here. Mm-hmm. I said, there's a 4-foot ET in the living room just standing there waiting for me to acknowledge him.
And what did I say? I said,
let him in.
Bring him in here because I need you. Tell him to come stand in here.
So I acknowledge him and say, I can see you. And I'm going to come out there now and I'm going to start doing whatever it is I'm going to do. Okay, I come out and I really wind up sitting here because I'm staring at the computer and the computer screen looks so weird to me. Things were like jumping out in like, you can see when they say that the TV is hypnotizing you and all that. Like I saw that effect. I saw how wide the energy comes out and I was staring going, can anyone else see this? Or am I just, and as I was doing that, the room looked like, it felt like it filled up with water. And I felt really at home all of a sudden, like really at home. Like,
yeah,
and I'm
well,
going,
remember we had that experience
but
with
everything's
fish?
water.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And when I mean a guy that looks like the dude from Hellboy was floating in front of me and he was talking to me and he wasn't that close, but he was close. And I go,
Who, Ron Perlman was talking?
no, the fish guy. from Hellboy. The guy that hangs out with Hellboy.
Oh, I thought you...
Not Hellboy. No. The aquatic character looks.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
it looked like this thing.
I was going to say, Ron, what should we call him?
Should we call him? Come on, Ron, get on the phone. All right, so anyway, it floated up to me and said to me, you need to learn how to speak to my people. And in its language, though, and I understood it. And it sounded like this weird gulping, right?
Yeah,
and then
I
was
told
like,
you, I
yo.
think that was your gills.
Listen,
you had gills.
so he starts doing it to me, and I start doing it back. I go, that's like it's very difficult to do when I'm not relaxed, but it's like a reverse bird chirp underwater. I know that sounds weird. So then I'm like, I said that out loud, and they went like, all right, hold on. And the bird beings walked in, sat down. They looked like mini Toth, but smaller than me, right? And sat down, and their heads were like moving up and down the way birds do. And then they were bird chirping. And I was like, oh, I understand that totally. And they were like, no, copy the chirp. And I'd copy the chirp. I'm like, I don't know how I'm able to do this. I do it. And then they go, okay, now look at that being and do it in reverse underwater. It's the same exact language, but it's in reverse underwater. And I'm like, are you serious? So it goes down the throat. It doesn't pop out the mouth.
From your diaphragm. Remember they made you suck in your stomach?
I've been doing that with my stomach now ridiculously, as if I could work this whole section of my chest and stomach. All right, so it gets weirder. This is where it gets really crazy.
It gets weirder than this.
All right, they're like, yo, we're here, and you guys are going to be the in-betweens for a bunch of us. So I go, okay, who else? Right? And this is where it gets really interesting. And I said this out loud. You got to be kidding me.
Oh, I remember.
Gorillas.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah.
On my left, there was a giant gorilla.
And what did you say?
He was wearing a helmet and a spacesuit. And he goes, ooh. And I go, oh, no way. I'm not talking to him. You guys are all coming in. Paul is never going to stop making jokes about this because I have the long gorilla arms. And we make jokes all the time. But I'm beginning to see the connection. They were looking at me and going like, like you're the tribe, you're two. And I'm going, no. And then I'm like, wait a second, you look like Hanuman. And they're like, no, don't talk in English. Talk in ape. Talk to me like this. And they would not allow me to speak in any language but the language I had to. So at first I went, nah, man, I can't do that. Oh. What was that? I'm like, oh, no. Oh. Arms flying. I'm like, just like Italians. And then boom, it just started happening. And I know it sounds funny and hysterical, but it's not funny and hysterical because they started bringing gorilla beings in to talk to me to make sure I knew what I was doing. And I couldn't stop doing it. I went into the shower and I was like, I wanted to sing because I was like, oh, I got to get out of this mode. And I was going, wait. How am I getting that sound from my belly button to come out? I never heard my body do that. Like that, because I was going, hey, I should be able to, if I could do bird whistles, this, that, and the other thing. If I'm being trained for this, I should be able to sing a good song. And they were like, no, that sound that you're making is coming from here. So you're not singing with that. You're making that specific sound. Right. And if you do it wrong with the...
You're gonna hurt yourself.
If you don't move your hand and arms...
Oh, yeah, it means something different.
It means something different. So if you look at someone, you could disrespect them easily by going like, And if you don't move your head, it's disrespectful. Like you're not acknowledging. You're just saying something nasty. So they were teaching me this, and I'm going, oh, man, if I screw up, you're telling me a giant space gorilla is going to punch me or something? They're like, no. You're going to be ready before really doing it, before they're standing in the room with you. Like literally in the house, like standing there. And you're going to be the go-between between these beings. And I'm like, well, that's actually awesome. I'm in. I'm down. To jump ahead,